Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays a Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. We're good to go. 2 wins in a row. I don't even want to talk about 2 wins in a row. Call me when we get to 200 wins in a row. You know, it brought me a lot of perspective, to be honest. Why would I take that way of walking, by the way? I don't know, it's just humorous, I suppose. When I was talking to Sinvicta about his streak, and he's at like 500, and how he told me like his audience is complaining because winning all the time is too boring. I was like, I've been waiting, I've been trying for 4 years to get back to that triple-digit streak marker I hit once. Well, I guess I hit it like 20 times, I guess, because I died at like 119 or something like that. But I've been trying for years. It's been my singular Isaac goal, along with providing entertaining commentary. And Sinvicta has a streak 5 times longer than the longest streak I've ever done in my life. And people are like, just lose already. Really put it into perspective that, you know, put a couple of things into perspective. One is, there's always some subset of people that are not going to be happy, and it's not always the same people. You know, sometimes people that are happy with this are not happy with that. You know, people happy with X don't find themselves happy with Y, and etc., etc. But, hold on. Oh, absolutely. You know, someone's always going to be mad. I've noticed that. I mean, it's just the way of the world, right? You got to steel yourself for the idea that anytime you make a decision, you run the risk of making somebody upset, you know? When you cancel a series, you know, maybe you're finished with the game, maybe it's got low viewership, maybe you don't like it that much anymore, you know, you still might have a few hundred people that are like, that was the most interesting thing that you're playing on your channel right now. And it's a bummer that you yeeted it. Happens all the time. Even like, hey, you know, even with 2 people, if one of you picks a restaurant, the other person might just be, you know, like, yeah, sure, let's do it. But they're deep down inside, they're like, I really wanted to go to Tony Roma's. I don't know why. To be honest, I've only eaten at Tony Roma's once in my entire life. I don't even remember what I had. I'm going to go ahead and say I probably had a sandwich. You know, I know Tony Roma's is quote-unquote famous for ribs. But I don't like to buy ribs when I go out to eat because they're kind of expensive. Delicious, yes, but kind of expensive. The only exception, I'll make an exception for like some Asian style short ribs, like Korean or Chinese short ribs. I'm like, I'll pay extra for that. Sometimes, it depends on the circumstances, but it's on the list for sure. But if I'm at a fast casual, you know, Western style restaurant, I'm going like sandwich salad. Which coincidentally is what my parents wanted to name me until, I was going to say the Humane Society, until Child Protective Services stepped in. I was going to be named Soup Salad, Wing Commander, Ryan, Northernlion, Laterno. But it didn't work out. You gotta admit, it's a pretty sick name. But that was also back in the day where like every place had a salad bar, you know? Salad bars, they're kind of a sign of the times back then. Salad bars don't really exist that much anymore, do they? I know that, you know, Olive Garden has a salad bar, is that correct? Or do they just have unlimited salad if you order an entree? That was a huge bomb. I don't think we have Olive Garden in Canada. I'm not sure. We have a different fast casual Italian chain called Eastside Mario's, but they say Eastside Mario's. I remember I used to go to Pizza Hut lunch buffet. Everything was a buffet. Wendy's had a salad bar. I feel like every restaurant I went to with like a party of more than 5 people in the first 20 years of my life had a salad bar. No joke. Used to go get brunch, salad bar. I hate that we lost the bone heart, by the way, but, you know, we did gain the ability to fly with HP alongside of it. Oh, you have to hit the button, of course. Of course. Very nice. Let's grab it. I like this a lot. I'm feeling very confident, to be honest, about the way this run should shake out. I miss a salad bar. I feel like if anybody has been like my timing, horrible performance there. My timing regarding the salad bar has made me a cursed individual. I'm like, you know, Dr. Pangloss from Candide. It's not really the metaphor doesn't really function, to be honest with you. You're gonna be like, that's a very astute reference. It's not really an astute reference, because it just means that I've read Candide. And indeed, I did read, and can read, Candide. But I was also forced to read it for university credit. Anyway, well, basically, I'm just saying it's a tragic story. I didn't really eat salad until the age of probably like 18. No joke. I tell it this same sort of storyline all the time, but I was a picky eater until I went to university. And even still, in university, I didn't really eat that much salad. I always thought salad was kind of like the compromised, you know, side or even entree, you know? So I never really, in my life, have gotten to take advantage of an all-you-can-eat salad bar, because by the time I started eating salads willingly and regularly, they were gone. I would love a salad bar now. In particular, you know, a crisp English cucumber sliced diagonally so the pieces are super long would really hit the spot right now. I'm just saying. Dude, you know what? No. I refuse to take Epic Fetus here. You've been too kind to me, game. Pay some of that energy forward, okay? Don't get me wrong. I can go with kale salad, romaine, butter lettuce, even iceberg lettuce. I could go with a wedge salad. That's fine by me. But I feel like the round cucumber slices have gone out of fashion. You don't see those in a salad too much anymore. At least in Vancouver, when cucumbers in a salad, they do something weird. Like, they'll julienne the cucumber pieces so they look like a weird set of jellyfish noodles or something like that. And that's fine, but it's like, you know, I love cucumber. Cucumber, definitely for me, top 5 favorite vegetable. And whenever we have this conversation or conversations along this line on the NLSS, people are like, you know, iceberg lettuce just tastes like water. Cucumber just tastes like water. I'm like, brother, what do you think I'm drinking right now? I love water. It's one of my favorite beverages. Is it my favorite beverage? It's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I only consume like 6 different beverages at this point in my life. I have coffee, I have a pre and post workout drink, and protein shake. I'm gonna tell you, neither of those 3 qualify. I'm not saying they're horrible, but could be better, for sure. I'm saving Pandora's box, by the way, until we get a compelling reason to use it. So it's really is water, it's iced coffee, and it's Diet Coke. And it really depends on the time of day, to be honest with you. Or Coke Zero, you know, whatever you want to describe. And occasionally a sparkling water. If somebody's offering a sparkling water, I'm all in. But I don't buy it myself because, I mean, it makes me sound like a weirdo, and maybe it is weird, but like I don't like buying drinks at the grocery store because like it just feels like a lot of work. I'm gonna keep going even though it's a little cringeworthy. Just because I know that people will love this line of reasoning. Even if they don't agree, they'll be like, whoa, this is messed up. But like, I used to love sparkling water, right? I still do. And I would drink a lot of LaCroix. Then, I realized, dude, this LaCroix is freaking expensive. If I just don't drink LaCroix, you know, I save like a couple of bucks a day maybe. It's not necessarily, you know, life-changing amounts of money, but it adds up and I don't have to drink it. And, you know, I like the taste, but it's not giving me like an insane amount of like, it's not a life-raising quality. So I just stopped buying it. I started buying the no-name brand, which was much cheaper and still delicious. And then one day, I was just like, you know, the amount of effort it takes to get 8 or 12 cans of sparkling water from the store to my own self does not justify, you know, the buying it. I know this sounds insane. I'm trying to make it sound less insane, and it's not working. All I mean is, you know, I go to the store. Hey, there's a case of LaCroix. I get the LaCroix. I pay for the LaCroix. I carry the LaCroix either home or I put it in the trunk of the car. And then I drive home and then I load the LaCroix into the refrigerator. Every time I drink LaCroix, I gotta put one of the LaCroix cans into the recycling. Once I got enough recycling, I gotta take the recycling down to our building's recycling room. And I gotta sort through all the recycling to do it. I was like, I'm reaching the point where it's like a fool's gamble to be drinking all this sparkling water. And it applies, you know, to any canned or plastic bottle beverage. But that's why I stopped buying at the grocery store. I was like, dude, just streamlines my whole life to just drink water. I mean, there's obvious, like, health reasons, but then, like, the other reason is, like, makes way less recycling for me to take down. I'm not joking with, dude, it's the reason, like, you know, well, one of the reasons I don't buy many things, you know, especially, like, online. You buy something online, ship it to you in a cardboard box, then the product itself is in its own cardboard box, and there's a bunch of plastic inside of that. You gotta sort it out, put it in the recycling, bring it. It's like a chore. Do I want this good more than the chore that's associated with having bought it? Most of the time, the answer to that question is no. And this is not laziness, really. Unless you want to be like, well, he's too lazy to buy, you know, a DVD. It's not really like that. I would just rather purchase it digitally whenever possible. Okay, this is a great item. So we will probably pop. Help. We'll probably pop Pandora's box right away here. Just so we can get the added benefit. Wasn't worth all that much, to be honest, but I'll take it. I'm super stoked to have Succubus. If we're lacking anything, it's DPS. We have not gained much in the DPS department. But apart from that, we're kind of rolling. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I like to live an agile life. And I know it sounds counterintuitive because I was talking earlier, you know, a few episodes ago about, you know, responsibility and actively getting responsible, you know, taking on I kind of thought that enemy could be hit by walking into. Actively cultivating a life with, you know, responsibility, but, you know, there are some, I simplify my life like, it's the same reason I eat, like, almost the same lunch, like, every day. If I don't have to think about what I'm having for lunch, that's more time than that I could spend doing something else. Not necessarily productive stuff, but stuff that I enjoy. I will say, so I haven't watched the documentary yet, okay? But there's this documentary on Bill Gates. It's called Decoding Bill's Brain, which I just, like, makes him sound like he's some kind of weird supernatural wizard. Like an AI construct sent to Earth. And like, how could we put... He's just a man, for God's sakes. What do you mean decoding Bill's brain? And Netflix, you know, they do like the teasers. The teaser has irritated me. I have nothing against Bill Gates, by the way. I understand he was a ruthless businessman, you know, in his more distant Microsoft days, you know. I definitely grew up in the era where people were like, Bill Gates, what is he? He's smart, he's wealthy, and he's ruthless. If you're a competitor, he's gonna put you down. But definitely over like the past decade and a bit, he's shifted to a more philanthropic sort of view. I will probably watch it at some point just to learn some more about the man himself, because, you know, he's got an interesting story, for sure. But they are hitting him with these rapid fire questions, and, you know, one of them is like, what do you eat for breakfast? Bill Gates? Nothing. Bill Gates eats nothing for breakfast. That surprised me. One of the things, you know, I'm not near retirement, but when I think about retirement, and maybe this is why I'm not William Gates, what's the image that pops into my head about retirement? It's me in a city with crumbling infrastructure, holding on to a Winchester rifle, defending the fresh water that I've hoarded over the past 2 decades from the raiders of the wasteland, as my city becomes surrounded by sandbags and levees to keep it from, you know, becoming entirely submerged below rising ocean levels. But secondarily, it's me sitting out on like a balcony or a patio or a breakfast nook, reading a newspaper or a book. Probably not a newspaper because I don't like the way the ink and the paper feel in my hands and it always smudges. Just one man's opinion. You think where's the glossy newspaper is all I'm trying to say. It's the reason I always like magazines. It's not because the quality of the journalism is better, but a glossy page is just more pleasant to hold. Anyway. You ever think of that one, print media? As advertising wages continue to crater, did you ever think about quintupling the amount of cost it takes to produce a single newspaper for weirdos like me? Anyway. And, you know, eating a nice breakfast, drinking a cup of coffee, and looking out on the world that I've contributed to and has contributed to me and will continue to go on long after I've left this mortal coil, hopefully. That's my enduring image. Now, Bill Gates is not retired, but I'm just surprised. My man is 63 years old. You're like, how do you know Bill Gates' age? What, you don't know Bill Gates' age? What's wrong with you? Weird. I think those are my prime breakfast years. I hope those are my prime breakfast years. I want to be eating some of my best breakfast there. Look, right now, I eat breakfast every day. I just eat a protein bar. But, and maybe like a banana or something like that. But still, I look forward to that meal. I'm a hungry man in the morning these days. I wake up, and my body is like, the tank's empty. You gotta put something in right away. Honestly, I feel like I want to give Bill Gates some advice. Because you might think like, oh, maybe by not eating breakfast, William Gates, that's his secret, you know? It sends a message to his subconscious that, you know, he has to work hard so that he can eat. He didn't reward himself with food and thus take away his motivation in the early day. Yeah, that's like why I don't put gas in my car, too. Is because I think that it'll drive faster if it thinks that it has to go fast to get to the gas station before all the gas runs out. Well, that's a logical extreme. I'm just saying if I would take many pieces of advice from Bill Gates, and maybe he's not even given the advice, don't eat breakfast. Maybe he's just like, I just never got in the habit of it. You know, that's also fine, of course. But if I could give him one piece of advice, I'd say, Bill, slow down. You move too fast. Give breakfast a shot. See how you feel about it, okay? Because I think if you're able to accomplish as much as you've accomplished on an empty stomach, you might want to give having a full stomach, you know, a try. You ever consider that? Maybe it's because he got used to skipping breakfast when he was in jail. You know, for that hardened criminal lifestyle. I don't know what he went to jail for. I don't even know if he went to jail. I think he just got his mugshot taken. It was the 70s. Things were different back then. Nobody knew drunk driving was bad. Not true. Anyway. Where was I going with this? I'm just saying, I think Bill Gates should eat breakfast. But at the same time, I'm not going to tell him how to live his life. I think it's pretty audacious that he's telling us how to live our lives in this documentary called Decoding Bill's Brain. That he probably had absolutely no part in funding. And just agreed to participate in. There's been a lot of documentaries recently about incredibly wealthy people's lives. I watched, well, again, I don't want you to think I seek these out, because I know there are the kinds of people that, you know, they seek out the wisdom of successful people on a regular basis and try to live their lives according to that, which is, you know, is fine. It's not the sort of thing I'm really that into, because I am one of those uber successful people, like a William Gates or a Warren Buffett, obviously. So I make my own rules for life, thank you very much. But it was on TV, and there was nothing else to watch, so I was watching a little bit about, you know, how Warren Buffett lives his life. It's kind of a funny way for a man to live, right? He's lived his whole life in Omaha, Nebraska, despite being one of the most prodigious stock traders of all time. Something really almost like quaint about that. People were like, in the documentary, they're like, why didn't you move out of Omaha, Nebraska? you know, to be closer to Wall Street, or maybe like, you know, he'd like a place that has milder winters or something like that. And he was just like, well, I live by a simple rule. I've never had a bad experience in Omaha. So why would I move? And I was like, you know what? That's kind of unassailable wisdom. I've got nothing against Omaha, or Nebraska for that matter. In fact, I know almost nothing about either Omaha or Nebraska, except that one of the friends I had in university recently moved to Omaha with her husband, and they seem like they're loving it a lot. I know because I see their posts occasionally on the old Facebook. You know the one. The Book of Faces. We got Dark Prince's crown to work here. I'm stoked. This run's got everything it needs, but maybe not everything I want yet. I struggle to think about, like, to be honest with you, might sound like a ridiculous opinion, but I think being as wealthy as Warren Buffett or Bill Gates would almost be a chore. I don't think this is that controversial, actually. Now, would I like to have as much money as... You're giving me a Boolean option. Would you like to have Warren Buffett's wealth, yes or no? Yes. However, if you gave me a choice between having, you know... I don't know what their net worth was at their peak, but I don't know, let's just say like $10 billion. If you gave me the choice between having $10 billion and having like $100 million, I'm being sincere. I think I might go with the 100 million. Let me explain this to you. I might talk myself out of it. First off, the obvious counter argument is that 1 billion is a larger number than 100 million. And 10 billion is a much larger number than 100 million. But let's start with some obvious stuff. $100 million is much more money than any one, you know, individual slash family could need for a single lifetime. Nobody on Earth could, in a sober mindset, disagree with that, in my opinion. So it's already enough money. But it is also at that level of money where, you know, I mean, what's DJ Khaled's net worth? He's probably worth like $100 million. Nobody's like, hey, Khaled, what are you doing to save the rainforest? Khaled, what are you doing with your extensive fortune that could be used to change the future of planet Earth forever, right? Or there's probably people like that, like in his inner sanctum, but like not at large. The way people talk about, you know, the kind of onus that falls upon a billionaire like Jeff Bezos, or, you know, I mean any billionaire basically on planet Earth. You know, they almost have like a greater societal obligation to do something. Especially because they've benefited so much from society to begin with. I mean, I'm not saying I would just, you know, reject that hypothesis entirely. All I'm saying is it would be a lot more comfortable, I think, to just have $100 million. You probably sidestep a lot of those questions. And it's still an unbelievably obscene amount of wealth. The other thing is, you know, I'm sure... Honestly, I don't think this is in the minority at all. I think most sensible people actually agree with me. There's like a maximum amount of usable money for a human being, in my opinion. And it's based on your lifestyle. This is my hypothesis on it. And we're talking Fantasyland money. I'm not talking about, like, you know, would you like to have another, you know, $50 in your bank account? You know, the answer is always going to be yes. But, you know, I think that once you hit a certain point, you reach diminishing returns, right? Like, my lifestyle at $100 million and my lifestyle at $10 billion, if they weren't the same lifestyle, I might actually think that $10 billion would be worse. Like, what that makes you happy exists at the billionaire tier that doesn't exist at the millionaire tier except for ego. You know what I mean? Some people are probably like, dude, if I had like If you gave me $50,000 right now, that would put me into the realm of diminishing returns. And I don't disagree. I'm not saying that's a small amount of money. But I'm like, you know, if I think about it, like, you know, what do you want? A house in Vancouver would be like, that'd be swell. And then like a certain level of comfort, you know, for the rest of what you could assume your natural lifespan to be. That's like your limiting factor right there. Now, unfortunately, due to property prices in Vancouver, that puts it into the 7 digits. But I'm always wary of people, you know, that are like, you know, I would love to have like $250 million. Because that's a number that I think invites skepticism. What do you want to buy? Do you want a private jet? Do you want like a huge boat or something like? I don't want a huge. I don't even want a little boat. I think if you made me like obscenely wealthy, I think we will go for it. I just hate to lose the candle, but it's definitely better. If you made me like obscenely wealthy, we'd get a housing upgrade for certain, but not even like a mansion, you know, just you know, pretty much it would be like location based, and then a little larger would be nice as well. That's it, you know. Ruka, yeah, I'll get you the golden cat food as well. I'll get you the golden cat food, my son. Do not fear. I'll get my cat the golden cat food. I don't like that. There's one more thing I would change. I would definitely get a nicer car immediately, but I wouldn't buy like a Lamborghini. I'm not a flashy man. I would get a Bugatti. It's just called being sensible. I'll get any car that makes the doors pop open like 60 degrees instead of opening out, you know? My son. This cat, he's lost his mind. He got into the creatine or something. He's fully torqued. He's trying to break the door down. But that's it. I'm always, I don't know, I shouldn't say skeptical, because I don't know if there's much you can say. Like, can you help it if you have, like, you know, lifestyles of the rich and famous ambitions? I don't know. Oh my god, my son. What is it? What is it? What is it, man? What you can't see, I don't know the webcam out. Ruka. Hello, yes, there's free pets. You might think I sound disillusioned with this cat. It's not true. It's just I've been petting him all day. The problem is, after I pet him, he's like, "No, these pets aren't good enough anymore. I want to like jump into where like all the wires and stuff are behind your computer. Cords, I guess, not wires, but." Ruka. What would you buy if you had $100 million, Ruka? I don't know. You know, you could do a bare naked ladies, I'll buy your love, but I think that the number one benefit of having more money past the ridiculous point is knowing that for the rest of your life, you're like financially set, you'll never have to worry about money. So I think that if you get to, and this is all hypothetical, obviously, because, you know, $100 million, yes please, but you know, you don't want to take so much money that managing that much money makes you more stressed out than if you had just chosen to have a little bit less. Anyway, we've given way too much thought to this thought experiment, ironically enough. I'm just saying. I'm glad that for whatever reason I've never found myself at the level of ambition where I'm like, you know, money is like a high score count. Because that's what, in both the little stinger that I saw of the Warren Buffett documentary and the Bill Gates documentary, there's like a recurring theme of like, yeah, there was a period when I was in like my 30s and 40s where I thought of wealth as a high score counter, and I became like a real jerk to, you know, my colleagues and family. And I'm like, yeah, you know what?
joke.
I heard. See, this cat, he's getting skittish here. You gotta just get in the box. That's fine. Enjoy your time in the box. He's the cat in the box. Yeah. You like Alice in Chains, Ruka? Fill my soul with pets. Groomers paid to shave me. Shave me. You could just go forever on this. I mean, Man in the Box has like 13 words in the whole song. Some of them you can't repeat on YouTube unless you want to get demonetized. Sorry, I was trying to think of the best way. I wanted to say demonetized, but with the emphasis on demon. Demonetized. That's a much better adpocalypse. Man, freaking YouTube demonetized me again. How dare they? How dare they? Anyway, we got easy wins coming up here. This is a fun run. I like any run where you don't have to talk about the game. Because I love the game, but I've talked about it enough. The only reason you got to hit me there is because Ruka got up on my grill. Oh my god, proptosis. Then I don't know. That's a line from Man in the Box, but now it's Cat in the Box. I'm just saying. Now, would I rather have $100 million or $100,000? I would rather have $100 million. $100,000 would also be nice. Who's offering? But come on, I'm not an idiot. No, that gave us a tiers upgrade. I'm cool with it. Alright, I can't believe we're finishing with such low speed, but apart from that, look at that. We just shredded. Alright. Well, that's a good episode for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. That helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.